Welcome to Meditation and Mindfulness. Let's begin this week with a meditation. So you can find a comfortable seat, close our eyes, and start to settle into our bodies. If you want to use music, you can get that playlist ready, but it's not necessary. Yeah. Okay, so let's close our eyes and get comfortable. And let's do another one of those mindful relaxation sessions for this meditation. So settle into your body. Then once again, let's start at the top of the head, the very crown of the head, the tip of the head. Imagine feeling that point on the top of your head. And from that point, radiating downward, imagine a wave of relaxation just washing down your body, starting at the crown of your head, spreading out along the top of your head, and curving down around the edges of your skull. Relax your forehead, relax your eyes, relax your ears, relax your cheeks, relax your jaw. Maybe move the jaw back and forth a couple times. Just continue to allow that relaxation to spread down your body. Feel your throat relax, your neck relax. Let's roll our shoulders up to our ears and down and back. And keep allowing the relaxation to spread down your body. Relax your chest, your upper back, your ribs, your arms. Just continue to allow that relaxation to spread down your body, washing away any stress, any tension. Relax your abdomen, relax your hands, your fingers. Maybe wiggle your fingers a little bit and then relax them. Maybe clench your hands, clench your arms, and relax those. Allow your hips to relax. Allow your legs to relax. You can clench the muscles in your thighs and then allow them to relax. Maybe clench your calves and allow them to relax. And keeping going down to the feet, relax the ankles, relax your heel, relax the top of your foot, and relax your toes. Now just continue on the inhales. Take a deep, full inhale. And as you relax, or as you exhale, allow that relaxation to just continually wash down your body, washing away all stress, all tension, all negativity. Anything that's not serving you, just wash away out of your body. So we can continue to do that as we sit here for the next few minutes. And when you're feeling ready, you can deepen your inhale, start bringing your awareness back into the body. Oh, how's it going? How you feeling today?
Good. It's so funny when you go do that kind of body scan where it really does set you up for a nice sitting, and it was like, oh, I didn't realize I was like
Mhm.
had a bit of tension here or there. Just even the bringing the shoulders up and back. It's like, oh, I didn't realize I was when I came to my seat that I was like still slouchy. So it was just like really nice to come into like, proper alignment.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Great.
it was good.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that too. It really just it helps kind of, like you said, bring awareness to any tension or tightness
Mhm.
that I'm holding in my body. Cool.
Yeah.
So you have any questions or anything? Any comments before I start talking?
Um, that was just really nice. I was kind of going back and forth with the idea of like, oh, should I be doing my mantra now or just sitting? And so I opted to just go with sitting. So
Hmm.
um sometimes I think I rely on mantra too much to hold my attention. And so I think it's good discipline to also learn to set that aside and just sit.
Hmm. Great. Yeah. Is that a mantra that Michelle gave you, or do you have?
No, I received a mantra from Amma, the hugging saint.
Oh, okay,
Do
cool.
you know who she is?
Yeah, I've heard of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. The whole like you accept her as your guru and she gives you a mantra. So that's one I work with the
Oh,
most.
cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
great. Mhm.
Wow, that felt like really personal to say.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Cool. So there was one topic I was thinking about talking about tonight. That's about the a modular theory of how the mind works,
Okay.
and this comes from pretty much directly from Robert Wright in that book I've talked about a few times, Why Buddhism is True.
Hmm.
I think it's a really fascinating kind of look at one theory about how the mind operates and how thoughts come into our mind. And so the basis of the theory is that the brain is kind of like a very sophisticated computer, and it and kind of different modules of thought patterns cycle through our conscious awareness. They kind of so in the kind of in the background there's different modules running of thoughts, and then depending on the emotions attached to them and the circumstances that we find ourselves in, certain emotions get triggered, and then the whatever modules are attached to those emotions, that's the module that then bubbles up into our conscious awareness. So if you kind of think about it, one example he gave, or some of the he talked about some of the studies that they did to that support this theory. And so, well, the idea, so generally the modules can be broken up into different kinds of categories of thoughts that often go together. And there's different theories about what the exact number of modules or how exactly they're defined. And it's not exactly like a computer program where there's distinct programs that run. It's all, our minds are all very interwoven, and the modules are interdependent, and some are subsets of others, and some share some thoughts. So some of the examples are there's a self-preservation module. So whenever we feel fear, like the instincts and thoughts that pop up about protecting ourselves, protecting our physical well-being, protecting the well-being of our loved ones. And then also some other big ones are a food acquisition module. So that's pretty important for us. And that's kind of a subset of the broader resource acquisition module. And so those share a lot of kind of thought patterns. And another commonly discussed module is the mate acquisition module. So whenever we're feeling kind of lonely or romantic, that triggered, or when we're around people that we find attractive, that kind of triggers the mate acquisition module. And so there's various, like I said, depending on how you want to break it up, there's anywhere from like 7 to 20 different modules, depending on who you ask. But it's an interesting way to think about how the mind works. And so one example he gave about some of the research supporting this is he talked about a study or an experiment where they had men sitting in a room filling out questionnaires about their long-term career goals. And they found that if there was also women present in the room, most of the men, their career goals tended, or the career goals that they wrote down tended to be more materialistic in nature. So more about accumulating wealth, accumulating possessions, houses, and things like that. So the idea is that in the presence of women, that mate acquisition module is triggered, and that makes guys think about things like money and resources, because those are things back in our evolutionary days, those are the things that are necessary, or those are the things that make men more attractive in the eyes of a potential mate, right? Having access to lots of resources. And so that's one example. And kind of the idea is whenever our minds are wandering, that's just kind of when there's not something directly occupying our attention, then these different modules just kind of float up into our awareness. And then if there's not any strong emotion attached to them, then they kind of get pushed out as something else comes up. And so that's the way kind of the brain works, or it's kind of was designed by natural selection to work. But then in our modern lives, there's all kinds of ways that our modern behaviors can hijack this system, right? So with the invention of sugar and junk food, that's caused the whole food acquisition module to go haywire sometimes, because back in the day when our ancestors were living on the Serengeti, the only source of something sweet would be fruit. And fruit also has all kinds of vitamins and nutrients and antioxidants. So fruit is really good for us, but it was often in limited supply back when our ancestors were evolving. So we were guided by natural selection to develop modules that when we taste something sweet, we're kind of driven to eat as much of it as we can, because if you think about fruit's very seasonal, it's only around for a limited time. So it was evolutionarily beneficial to eat a whole bunch of fruit whenever you found it. But now that we're living in our modern lives where we have things like junk food, that can play havoc with our lives and our consciousness, because now we have easy access to sugar, and sugar that's wired right into the dopamine system. And so that can cause lots of problems for people, because it gives us this dopamine rush to eat sugar, which was beneficial in our evolutionary history when the only source of sugar was fruit. But now that we have all these empty calories around, this can be a big detriment to us as we try, because we can just get into the habit of wanting that dopamine fix from sugar instead of relying on the naturally evolved modules that guided us towards something sweet because it was healthy for us. So those are just some of the examples of how this theory of mind works, a theory of modules, the modules of the mind, and some of the ways that they get hijacked by our modern lives. So does that make sense? Any questions about that?
Yeah.
Have you heard something like that before, or is that new?
It's new to me, but it makes sense. I think, like, I don't know the source of it, but what I've heard, as long as we're talking about like our mental thought patterns, is that we think anywhere between, is it like 700, is it 70,000 or 700 thoughts a day, 90% of which you thought yesterday,
Oh, yeah.
and that we're just like often rehashing old stuff. And so to kind of just pay attention to the quality of what those thought patterns are.
Right.
So if you are thinking anyway, and also just that we're just repeating what we already know a lot of the time. So,
Yeah.
so that so then it seems like, oh, well, maybe I'll try a different route, maybe I'll try a different thing, and I don't know, kind of just break some of my habitual cycles.
Right. And that's where meditation and mindfulness come into play, because sitting in meditation or trying to be mindful throughout the day, we can start to notice how
Mhm.
notice how repetitive the modules are, the thoughts are that
Mhm.
keep popping up into our mind. I've noticed with myself, just kind of being aware of this, I start to notice when my mind is wandering. It's like, oh, yep, that's the food acquisition module that I'm in again,
Mhm.
or there, there's the mate acquisition module coming up.
So does that help to just like name it?
I think so, yeah, for me personally. And I'm going to talk about a meditation technique about that in a little
Okay.
bit. And the other way that meditation and mindfulness helps is, since what determines whether or not a module rises up to our conscious awareness, since that's all determined by emotion and the charge, the kind of the emotional charge associated with the module and whatever circumstances are triggering our emotions. So any kind of mindfulness practice that helps us be less immediately reactive to emotions can give us greater control about the how we act on thoughts that pop up in our mind, since at
Mhm.
the root of all our thoughts are emotions. So any practices that help us sit with emotions rather than just automatically reacting to them can help give us more control over our lives and over our conscious minds.
Mhm.
And um, so there's kind of this sense that we think that we're in control of our minds, and we think that we're deciding what we do and what we think all the time. But some of the research shows, and I think anyone who meditates for a while starts to realize that thoughts kind of have a mind of their own sometimes. And they tend to sometimes it can feel like they're actually competing, like trying to grab our attention, right? Or competing with each other to come into our awareness. So if you ever had that sensation where there's one part of you that wants to do something and one part of you wants to do something else, say like the food acquisition module wants you to eat that candy bar, but then your long-term preservation, your self-preservation module knows all about the ill effects of too much candy. And so
Mhm.
that module wants you to not eat the candy bar, but you got this other instant gratification module, food module, wanting, telling you just do it now, just get the dopamine. So it helps explain. I don't know if you've ever noticed that in yourself, kind of that competing, when it seems
Mhm.
like there's two parts of yourself competing with each other. And so in a sense that's true. There are these different modules within us that are kind of competing with each other for who's going to win control of our conscious mind.
Yeah.
So yeah, this thinking about it in this way is kind of has helped me have a better understanding of what's going on in my mind.
Nice.
Yeah, and so we can do this meditation technique now. So one way to start becoming aware of these patterns is to have a piece of paper and a pen with you while you're meditating. So I don't know, do you want to try this now? And the idea
Yeah.
is we can
And
just
I've got just on the other side of my laptop is my notepad. I'll be right back.
okay, great. Hold on, I gotta grab a
A
pen.
notebook from Christine when she was my angel.
Oh, That's cute.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, nice. Yeah, so let's do this right now. We'll sit and meditate and focus on the breath, and just anytime a thought pops up, go ahead and stop and open your eyes and like jot down a little sentence describing what the thought is.
Okay.
And then we'll do this for a few minutes now, but you can continue to do this on your own during your own practice if this is appealing to you, and
Okay.
just start to notice over time, the different which thoughts most commonly pop up when you're trying not to think.
Yeah.
And so yeah, this can be very helpful, just trying to noticing, oh, my mind really likes to go to this,
Or scarily like revealing.
right, that's true, yeah.
Oh my God, I'm a freak.
No, whatever your mind's doing, you're not a freak. I'm sure no matter what your mind's coming up with, there's other people that are doing the exact same thing out there.
Okay. Ah.
Okay, so let's try this right now. So
Okay.
you can get comfortable, close our eyes, settle into our seat, and then we'll sit in silence for this one again, and let's just try to focus on the breath. So just try to pay attention and notice your inhale, notice your exhale. So I'm not trying to do too much, just trying to stay aware of the breath. And then anytime you notice your mind wandering, go ahead and open your eyes and jot down a sentence or two about what it is you're thinking about. And so we'll go ahead and do this for a couple minutes.
Okay.
So yeah, settle into your body, connect with your body, connect with the ground, connect with your breath. Just try to focus on the breath. And then when you're notice that you're distracted, go ahead and write down the thoughts in your mind. And just one thought. So one technique you can try is just try to count the breaths in your head. So just without thinking about anything in between. So just on each inhale, count one, count two, and then try to see if you how high you can get without any thoughts interrupting you.
Okay.
And when you're ready, once more, deepen the inhale, coming back to the body. So how was that?
Um, so I think if you didn't give me the inhaling and counting, I might have like gone off even more. But I think being able to track inhaling one, exhaling, like that actually
Yeah.
kept me. But it was interesting, like when we first started, it's like I got to three, I'm like, my nose is itchy, right? Then I was able to get to like 10 breaths, and it was like, did I feed the dog? Right? And then I got to like 8 breaths from that point. Tomorrow's garbage day. I got to do the bins. And then the longest I went was 19. And then I noticed my brows were squinting. So I'm like, why are my eyebrows furrowed? So I don't know if I was like counting very diligently, but like all of a sudden I felt like this tension in my forehead. And I'm like, okay, why my eyebrows are squinted? Then I got to like another 5 where it's like, I forgot to email Michelle. And maybe it's because you mentioned Michelle earlier. And then I'm like, oh my God, I forgot to email her back. And then I don't know if it was your timer, but I'm like, are those owls? Like I heard like
Well, I think that was sandhill cranes flying past.
Oh.
Yeah, they have a really distinct call. Yeah.
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 Well, and then because then shortly after you ended, I'm like, oh, was that his timer? So anyway.
Yeah.
Cool.
But yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Like,
yeah,
actually tracking the thoughts that pop up.
Yeah. So random.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How was it for you?
Yeah, it's interesting because I think, well, I didn't record the number I counted to. That's a good idea. I might recommend that in the future, like keeping track of the count that you get to, so you have an idea of.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I didn't do that, but yeah, I noticed very early on my mouth is a little bit dry, and that reminded me of a video I watched with Pima Chadran one time.
Mhm.
Her mouth was really dry. I'm like, why doesn't she drink some water? Her mouth is so dry. And then so then I got back to my breath, and then I'm like, why did I think about that? And then I started thinking about talking about this to you afterwards. um, yeah, and then I don't know if you noticed this, but it's as I was really trying to focus on my breath, I can kind of feel like just flashes of thoughts coming up, right? Not a full formed thought, but like just something would flash briefly across my attention. I don't know if you noticed that experience too.
Yeah, but it like wasn't a well-formed thought to
Right.
warrant writing it down.
Yeah.
But then I also noticed when I got to like the 19 range, how much deeper I was sinking into my meditation. So that was also interesting. Like, wow, so by like 19 breaths, I can be pretty deep.
Right.
That was cool. Like I'd never known like how long does it take me to like feel like I'm settled in? I've never like I don't think it takes that long. If you practice a while, you can get there. So it was nice to be like, okay, well, by 19 breaths, I can get there.
Yeah. Interesting.
But I mean, well, what there were all the distraction thoughts before then, but there was a good span of up to 19 breaths where I felt like I went very deep. So, and I'd never considered that before.
Cool. Yeah.
So cool. That was neat to identify.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you find this interesting, I encourage you to keep doing it sometimes while you meditate.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you want to do it every time because it does make it harder to meditate because you stop and write stuff down.
Yeah.
So it is a little distracting in that way. But if you find it beneficial, it can be helpful to really, it really helps you kind of pay attention to your mind and really notice what's going on in your mind and how these thoughts really just kind of the thoughts. I mean, the phrase that you probably heard before is how thoughts think themselves, right? These thoughts, they just kind of, it seems like they're trying to claw their way into your conscious attention without you asking for it.
I think what's also nice about this is like to see my own thoughts reflected back to me, that like there wasn't any like negative self-talk in there. There wasn't, right? Like I wasn't like berating me, maybe 5 years ago I would have.
Mhm, mhm.
And so this just is also really nice to be like, wow, the quality of my thoughts were like neutral. There wasn't like any sort of like emotional charge or whatever. I wasn't beating myself up. It wasn't like you didn't feed the dog. It's like, did I?
Right.
Um, so I think that that just kind of also speaks to some of the work I've been doing on my own
Mhm.
to just be a more positive, well-adjusted person.
Great. Yeah.
So that was nice to have that reflected back.
Yeah. Yeah. It was
So
mostly just kind of practical things about
yeah, it's
life.
just like little reminders, like, oh, did I do this? And it was like reminders of physical sensations,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, cool.
Cool. Yeah.
Never done this before.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting exercise for sure.
And so who did you learn it from?
From Robert Wright in that book, Why Buddhism is True. I think that might be a technique from Vipassana meditation. From that you might learn that at some of those if you ever go to one of those retreats.
Mhm.
Or I think, yeah, I mean, I'm not sure where he got it from, but I heard it from him.
Okay. No, I had just never heard it before, so now my curiosity is piqued for sure.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Mhm.
Okay.
Cool.
Hmm.
So that was the only real topic I wanted to discuss tonight. Want to just meditate again and call it
Mhm.
night?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. So let's once more get comfortable in our seats. And now for our last meditation, let's go back to our old favorite, the heart. So as we sit here, as we settle into our seat, settle into our body, let's just bring our awareness to our heart. And like we've done before, let's on the inhale, breathe in love from all around us, from the universe. And as we exhale, exhale that love into our hearts, breathing that love into our hearts. Just bathing our hearts in love and warmth and compassion. So inhaling, breathing in love and warmth, then exhale, blowing that warmth and love into our heart, just soaking our heart in love. Just continue to do that for the next few minutes. you're ready, you can slowly start to deepen your inhale. Gently coming back into the body.
That one's always so nice.
Yes.
Good one. Yeah.
Great. So, any final questions or comments?
Um, I just love that one. It just feels good, and um, it really does just fill you up.
Yeah.
You know, it really just feels good. So thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that one too. Just
Mhm.
feeling love in your heart.
Yeah, and it's just and it just feels like there's a self-soothing to it, right? Where just
Yeah.
all that love that you're seeking elsewhere, it's like you just bring it into yourself and work with the overflow, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's true what they say. You can all the love that you want. You can find it within yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When our hearts are full, then it's that much easier to share it with others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm a fan of that.
Me too. Yeah.
Good. Good. Thank you so much, Matt.
Well, thank
I'm
you for.
sorry I was late.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for attending.
Good. I know. How much longer till we all meet up again in July? That's,
No, I can't wait.
I know. It's not that long. Like
Yeah.
for a while, that seemed like, oh, that's farther out. And it just feels like it's approaching closer and closer.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
like, well, what about like about 2 months from now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's
gonna
not
go
that
by.
long.
Gonna go by fast. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Good. Good. Awesome.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, have a good night.
You too. Enjoy your time. Are you still in Wisconsin?
Yes, I'm still in Milwaukee in my mom's house.
Oh, good. Oh, she must have loved having you for Mother's Day.
Yeah, it was nice.
Good. Good. Awesome. All right.
Yeah. So I
Well,
think
and
yeah, I might cancel next week because I think I'll be
okay.
driving again next Thursday. So I think I might just go ahead and cancel it.
Okay.
But 2 weeks from now, I should be back in California. So then,
Okay. Well, safe journey. Have a good
thanks.
are you meeting back with your lady friend?
I think I'm gonna swing back through Kansas City. Yeah, we're back.
Okay, so if I start calling you Kansas, that'll be our inside joke.
All right.
Okay. Have a good night.
All
Thank
right.
you again.
Thanks. You too.
Okay, bye.
Bye.